Hello all, my name is James McAdam, and today I'll be discussing with y'all Mini Clouds One API. Pretty much how consumers and both companies want to use one API for the cloud services without having to use multiple ones for each provider. How is it done currently? Most cloud providers have offered their own API. With doing this, users are forced to sign up for services for each provider at the cost of easy migration at a later stage for the providers. Many consumers are tied to one provider, which is not something you want for many reasons. One is in case that business were to go out of business, then you would have lost all your data, like if they would have had a crash on one of their servers. Many businesses provide these application services using their internal LAN and WAN networks. This route does have its benefits, mainly just for the providers, and the consumers are pretty much screwed. The biggest reason for the separation between having multiple providers with one cloud API would be it would reduce competition between the companies. API principles. Delta Cloud acts as a buffer which solves any issues, variances that would arise when using multiple providers for one cloud. Its basic interface supports all drivers, which correlates to all the variances or troubleshooting errors you would run into when using multiple providers. Client doesn't need to be aware of which cloud provider is on the other end, as on the front end everything is working fine. Here's an example, a diagram of the Delta Cloud. As you see on the left is the client and the Delta Cloud core, and the rest via HTTP is pretty much the tunnel that connects the front end and the back end. And on the back end, the driver is what connects the various providers and their different APIs. So on the front end, the user doesn't care what happens there. Major priority is focused on compatibility with cloud-oriented storage systems such as S3 and cloud files. The drivers for the vCloud are Red Hat Enterprise Virtualization Manager, and Google Storage are just a few examples. Currently being used in Red Hat's Cloud Engine is Cloud Engine, Steam Cannon, and Eclipse. Here's an example of the Cloud Engine as well as the Delta Cloud API. You see in the main box you've got your Cloud Engine. Outside of the main box you've got the tasks and processes that can be done, as well as on the upper left corner you have the application builder, which compiles everything, and your repository is where everything's stored. Installing Delta Cloud. It varies depending on which OS you are using, but for any of the Linux distributions, and the most common one, Fedora, you use this command line script: yum install delta cloud -core -all. On other OSs you would use the following, as well as this also requires you having a C compiler present: gem install delta cloud core. After installation completed, a Delta Cloud server can be opened with the following command: delta cloud -i mock -r hostname -p port. And the mock is the driver you set it as, and hostname is either the hostname or the IP address, and the port is, of course, you choose which port number. API in your browser, here's the URL you would go to. Of course, you have your hostname and then the port you put in /API. This displays the top end view, your normal web page, and it has images that you can click on and links to various children properties The main purpose of this is just to get a look and feel of how everything's structured. And that's about it. Hope everyone learned something. Have a good day.